Yeah, because you talked about, when a new hype game comes out, then you just drop whatever you're playing and just start playing that. I have like the opposite problem. I don't know if there's an actual term for it. I think I'm just gonna coin a term now.
Okay.
I get hype fatigue, right? So like there are times when I see a new game like announced at E3 or something.
Yeah,
I see all like the the gameplay and like the developers showing off gameplay footage and trailers, and I follow through that. And I'm like super hyped for this game because I think I'm really gonna like this game. And I get so hyped that I kind of hype myself out of it once the game actually comes out.
You used all your hype.
Yeah. It's so weird. Like I was like that with the Final Fantasy VII remake because I'm like, dude, I can finally enjoy Final Fantasy VII because it's removed the shitty part that I hate about Final Fantasy, the turn-based combat and the random encounters. So in theory, I should love this game because this is one of the greatest JRPGs of all time. Everyone always talks about it.
Yeah.
I was hyped for it to come out. I was hyped for it for years, and then it came out, and then I just was just like, maybe I'll play it later.
That's a really good point. I think that League of Legends killed my ability to get hyped for games.
Yeah.
Because I knew that at the end of the day, most of the time I would just return to League of Legends.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter what game came out anyway, because I would play it for a week and I'd be like, all right, back to League.
Yeah.
And it's like, and so now, even though I don't really play League anymore, even when a game that I probably am excited for like is announced or whatever, I'm just like, while someone's on Twitter going, like the fucking every letter.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh.
I mean, cool. Yeah, it's like,
I'll play when it comes out.
It's kind of like that, whole thing of like, oh, like a new restaurant just opened up that everyone's fucking hyped about. I'll go check it out. But then you go have a meal there. Might be the best fucking meal of your life, but then, you'd be like, all right, I'm going to McDonald's tomorrow. It's just comfort food, right? Or comfort game.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, there's always that like fallback of, this is a cool game and all.
Yeah.
And like, I'm sure I'll love it if I just kept going on with it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, I'll just replay this thing.
I
Again,
wonder as well if you're into story games more, which I think the people who are chasing like the hype are more into story games, because when you're a multiplayer gamer, mainly like me, it's like, well, I'm just gonna keep playing the same fucking game. So like, why would I get hyped over anything when if there's a new game, I'll probably end up switching to it if it's a new multiplayer game. You know what I mean? So it's kind of hard for me to get hyped about story games.
Because it's like a catch-22 for me, right? Because I really value good stories in video games, but also like, especially now as an adult, I think I just have commitment issues with games. Like, unless I know that I'm going to be committed to this game for the next week of my life, which finding time to commit to a game for the next week of my life is like a big fucking commitment now. It is so hard that sometimes I just go back to my comfort food of just like maybe replaying Mass Effect. Like when Cyberpunk got released, I was super hyped about Cyberpunk, and then it got released, and then I'm just like, I don't really feel like playing Cyberpunk. I just started playing Mass Effect again. Because
but you can't choose your dick size in Mass Effect.
Because I know the story of Mass Effect. I know I'm going to enjoy the story of Mass Effect, and I know, but I think overexposure in terms of like gaming is a big thing for me, because a lot of people hype up games to no end, and I don't think in anime at least this is as big of a problem or as big of like a thing where people do, people get hyped about anime as it's airing. People rarely get hyped about anime or super hyped about anime before it starts airing. But with video games, you have years and years to like pump yourself up for this game to come out.
Cyberpunk hyping out, right? That was ridiculous.
I am surprised though that I wasn't expecting. I thought I was gonna be the only Nintendo simp on this at this table, so I'm glad that you have at least like a couple of Nintendo games here.
Okay. So let me ask you this: was Wind Waker your first Zelda?
It was the first Zelda that I finished.
That's normally how it goes.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes.
Because my favorite was like Twilight Princess, and I know that it's not the best one, because I think Breath of the Wild is better than Twilight Princess.
Yeah, but Twilight Princess is still a fucking solid game.
But solid game. But it's only because I think that was the first one that I finished, and like when you finish a Zelda game, there's something about it that feels like so. Just when you're a kid.
Yeah, I mean, it was like really hard for me to pick between Wind Waker and Breath of the Wild. I was fucking obsessed with Breath of the Wild when it came out, because I remember when I started getting into Breath of the Wild, was the first time that I came to Japan with Sydney. The first time I met you. And I remember, like, I had a great time in Japan. First time in Japan, of course, you're gonna have a great fucking time. But I remember, no matter how many times I went to Akiba, no matter how many times we hung out and everything, at the back of my mind, I was just like, I kind of just want to go home. I
could be playing Breath of the Wild.
I could be playing Breath of the Wild right now. Like,
God's in the club.
I'm just like, fuck Joey, man. Like, come on, Joey. You're good, but are you Breath of the Wild good? I don't know about that.
But you could have said that to my face. I would have been like, you know what? I ain't mad. I kind of agree. Kind of have to agree with you there. To be fair, though, I wasn't expecting Sunshine for some reason.
Okay, out of all
you
the
don't
Marius,
seem like a Sunshine player.
Why don't I seem like a Sunshine player?
I don't know. You just don't. You two don't seem like Nintendo game. I know you're not, but you definitely don't seem like that.
Because I think the only Nintendo games that are on here are like my childhood Nintendo games.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because I was definitely a Nintendo kid. I was such a Nintendo simp when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I was like, I never owned any other console apart from the NES, Super NES, N64, GameCube, and it was only after GameCube that I finally ventured out, which is why I just didn't own a Wii.
Right.
And I think since then, the Switch is the first Nintendo console I actually owned.
Right.
And so I still like, out of all the Nintendo games, these two pop out to me as the ones that
I think they're still like the most popular.
Honestly.
Normie.
It's like most popular 3D Mario and most popular 3D Zelda.